One of the reasons people tear their ACL, and in particular, one of the reasons girls tear their ACL, and girls tear their ACL in equivalent sports often 4 times or more often than boys do, is because they don't use their hamstrings in particular the right way. And also, when they change direction, they tend to put their knee in more of an at-risk position. They don't use their core muscles the right way. So that's what happens. They sort of put themselves at risk. Guys tend to not do that as much. They tend to use their hamstrings to protect their ACL, whereas girls don't use their hamstring when they change position. They use their quads to sort of slow themselves down, and the quad actually pulls on the ACL, so it's the exact opposite of protecting it. There are multiple training programs out there to train athletes basically to protect their ACL. It changes their technique, their cutting technique. It makes them learn to jump and land to jump the right way, so that instead of being quad dominant, they become hamstring dominant, and by doing that, they can protect their ACL. And these are programs that are there's different ways of doing it. You can do it like an off-season program, which would go for 6 weeks, 3 days a week, an hour a day. But a lot of the programs are actually can be incorporated into your practices. So if a coach knows how to do them, it can be part of your dynamic warm-up, part of what you're basically are doing just every day with your athletes. And the advantage to it is your athletes jump higher, they can cut quicker, they can be faster, they can be more agile, but also it definitely reduces the risk of ACL tear. And if you lose an athlete to an ACL tear, you lose them at least for a year, if not forever. And if you can protect them from that's a huge service. There are multiple programs out there. One is called the Plus 11, and that's actually published online by FIFA, the World Soccer Federation. And if you just Google plus, the symbol plus 11, FIFA, FIFA, you'll get it. And it actually gives you the whole program. It gives you all the exercises, all the warm-ups, and there's actually sort of like 3 levels of it. So once they get to one level, they can move on to the next. I do that. I do a sort of a hybrid of that program with all my teams at St. Paul's, and the girls actually like doing it. Once they learn to do it, they know they're doing it 2 or 3 times a week. They can actually do a lot of it just on their own. There's another more in-depth program called Sports Metrics, and you can go to the sportsmetrics.org, I think, website, and you can get DVDs and so forth that show you how to do it. I'm actually certified in Sports Metrics, and that requires you to take a course either in Cincinnati, where it comes from, or one of their meetings. But they teach you how to actually evaluate athletes to see who's at high risk, and you can do that just by watching someone jump off a box and how they land. You can determine if someone is at a high risk for tearing their ACL. But that's a more in-depth program, but it's a great program. It's also actually a great program in general, just for conditioning,